So you watched what was going on inside. One of the points that we expected to be brought up was the seizure of about 200 guns from his home. Did the judge make a decision on this?
He didn't make a decision on it, and good morning to you from Suffolk County. He did mention it, though, saying that there will be another court hearing about that. We've got two court hearings expected next October 2nd and November 15th, and it sounds like the October 2nd court hearing is where we may get a decision. And we've been reporting on this all week about how the paperwork needed to be turned in about the seizure of those guns. And the wife of Rex Heuermann, her attorney has been asking for those guns not to be returned back to her, but to be sent over to a licensed firearm dealer so that they can eventually be sold and the profits be divided when the divorce is final. But it was certainly a dramatic moment here this morning inside of this courtroom when we saw Rex Heuermann come out. He was handcuffed, wearing a blazer and slacks, and he's obviously a towering figure. There were up to 5 bailiffs in front of the court well where he was brought out. And I looked right behind me and I saw two of the victims' family members. For two of the victims, two of the sisters were sitting, watching every single moment, listening to the words that were being spoken. It was a very short court hearing today, really just talking about the discovery. It was a status conference hearing. The judge asked Rex Heuermann if he had had time to review the thousands of pages of discovery that his attorney has been given. He said that he had, that he's allowed about 4 hours a day while he is in his cell to look through those materials, but he averages, he said, about 2 to 3 hours a day. So as we talked about that discovery that was handed over, 2 terabytes worth, it included search warrants, phone records, walk-through videos of the searches of Heuermann's home in Massapequa Park, documents and other evidence. And they also mentioned an additional 5,000 pages of discovery since the time of his arrest that came from his home, office, and storage facilities. And of course, all of that information that we don't have information on ourselves, it hasn't been made public, is going to be very interesting to him and his attorneys to see what they have so far. So as the DA mentioned in a press conference here shortly after, this is rolling. We are going to continue to hear about the discovery that is being handed over in the days, weeks, and months to come. Back to you.
So much evidence in this case. And Laura, I think often about the family members of the 3 women he's charged with killing. The 4th they may tie him to in other cold cases that continue to be investigated. I'm curious, were there any members of Heuermann's family in court today?
No, there weren't. And I looked behind us and I could only see the 2 sisters. It was the sister for Melissa Barthelemy and the sister for Maureen Brainerd Barnes. And remember, Amanda, the sister for Melissa Barthelemy, she was the one who received phone calls from her sister's phone that was in the hands of the killer. The killer called her and taunted her and told her what he had done to her sister. Now imagine, this is the suspect. He has, not been found guilty. But as she's sitting there in that courtroom today, I turned around and looked at both of the sisters, watching him, watching his every movement, listening to the words he said, and he spoke a couple of sentences in this courtroom today. I followed the sisters out and watched them get on the elevator. One of the sisters clearly emotional, crying as she was surrounded by the bailiffs who were trying to protect her from our prying eyes, and with the DA as they went down, and they were taken out of here. They weren't taken out in front of the reporters, but a very emotional few moments there in the courtroom for these 2 sisters watching the suspect who police say killed their sisters.
Wow, and just chilling for her to pick up on his voice. You wonder if she'll be called as a witness to testify in the trial once it takes place. Laura, finally for you, what was his demeanor like? You talked about what he was wearing. I mean, he's just this large figure, but what did he seem like in court?
He seemed at ease. I did notice that it looked like he had a haircut. I think we're going to get some photos from the courthouse here in a little bit, but he was kind of shaved around the ears a little bit and close cut in the back. So his hair looked different than the last time we saw him appear in court. He had a blazer on and slacks. He was handcuffed behind his back for the entirety of the court hearing, as far as I could tell. But just listening intently, this is a rare moment for him, getting out of his jail cell and having a chance to interact with other adults in a courtroom. So he's listening listening very closely to the judge, the judge who wanted to know if he had had ample time to look through some of the material that's coming his way. Again, there is a lot of it, but he seemed, very calm and just went right back after that court hearing was over behind the closed doors.
And finally, real quick, we had heard rumbles, Laura, this morning that there was a chance his attorneys would come out after the hearing and speak. There was also the possibility that Rex Heuermann would speak on his own behalf. Did that go anywhere? Are you hearing the same thing?
No, we heard from Heuermann's attorney, who came out and just kind of gave us a brief press conference, just talking about that they're looking for more materials, that they contend that their client is innocent. No, we did not see Rex Heuermann come out here to the microphones. I had heard that too, believing it was very unlikely. We would never see anything like that here. But you never know. But no, he did not come out, but his attorney did, and gave a pretty lengthy press conference. We'll re-rack some of that tape for you later today, just talking about they need more time, talking about the evidence that's been gathered so far, saying that there's a lot of video evidence of him going out of his home, going into his office, that doesn't necessarily tie him to anything here in this case. We'll have more to come.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.